Over the past several years, I have dedicated my life to nuzlocking Pokemon games ranging from wildly difficult ROM hacks to wacky and whimsical fan games. During that time, I have used a lot of different Pokemon, and today I'm ranking every single one of them. With over 350 creatures to rank, will I be able to narrow it down to find the absolute best Pokemon? The Pokemon that started my nuzlocking journey, no cap. We're already making new, I haven't even placed a Pokemon and I'm already making new tiers. But there has to be like a career defining tier, right? I don't think no cap gets there. No cap is the one that started it all, but it doesn't define the career at all. I think for the mid tier, I just want to say like solid. I know it's really lame to start off with the very first Pokemon as just solid, but that it was just your standard Blastoise vanilla leaf green Nuzlocke experience. Like there was nothing to write home about. It's just perfectly solid. S tier has to be run defining. When I think of this Nuzlocke, this is the Pokemon that I think of. Bad girl. I believe this was my first ever Nuzlocke death. I did a tier that's above worse than useless. I have added more tiers than Pokemon to this tier list so far, so we're off to a great start. This is the not your fault tier. I would blame most of the bad luck in the run on myself. And I think the first two Nuzlocke deaths both fall in not your fault. I literally hit an optional trainer. I ran into Super Nerd Joven. I still remember that trainer's name in Mount Moon. And I nearly wiped Maton 2. This is the one Gym Wonders. This is a Pokemon that pretty much only showed up for one gym, did a really good job, and then it went into the box forever. But it did make the E4, and it actually did do some stuff the rest of the run, but I wouldn't say it carried a large portion of the run. So I think this one also just falls into the solid tier with no cap. Matt Shrew. So this is the larger than life tier. And Matt Shrew absolutely falls into the larger than life tier, where Matt Shrew objectively did less than both No Cap and Maton 2, but somehow this stupid Sand Slash, like look at the legacy that Matt Shrew left. We had Matt Shrew, we immediately had Matty Shrew right after that. We get a shiny, we have the Shat Shrew. This many years later, we still reference Matt Shrew. I don't want to just keep slamming stuff into the solid tier. Bad Boy was very solid though. Like I was planning on taking Bad Boy to the Elite Four, but then I didn't. There's only like a few Pokemon that I feel like require redemption. So I think I'm just gonna, the solid tier is probably gonna be very massive. I think we can just put that one out there. This is probably gonna be the most populated tier. But now we get into the good stuff. Sturdy the Onix. And I think Sturdy the Onix is truly career defining. Unfortunately. Obviously this was not the Onix of Ice Punch fame. This Onix kind of embodied the redemptive Nuzlocke, starting this new path down this Nuzlocke career. Like, if it wasn't for that first Nuzlocke video, none of this other stuff would have been possible. And I think that trying to redeem this Onix, going out of my way to get it, being intentional about using it in the Elite Four, killing Lorelei's Jinx with Explosion, there was just so much. And I truly don't think I would be sitting here today if it weren't for Sturdy the Onix. So I think I have to put it here. Will it sit atop the tier list forever? Doubtful. I think we're going to move the career defining tier down eventually. But for the time being, I will let Sturdy the Onix be the one and only career defining Pokemon. Okay, wait. Minecraft. Under like not your fault tier, I need a worst cooks tier. I tried to do something with Minecraft. I had this crazy conversion thief tech. I was going to turn Minecraft the Porygon into the one and only dark type Pokemon that you could even get. You can't get any other dark types in Kanto. And then I got it killed to a Destiny Bond Ghastly on an optional trainer. And then we have Mood. Was the very first Gyarados, but I really don't think... When I think of the Gyaradoses that I've had on the channel, Mood the Gyarados is not one that I necessarily think of. And then we have Pablo. It's like, this is the entire Elite Four right here. This was really a one gym wonder. It did make the Elite Four team, but this was really just to prove that Sabrina was completely free if you brought this Pokemon. And then Jome, I think also a solid Pokemon, but I need to make a tier that I think is below massive contributor, because there's these Pokemon that you'll get in Nuzlocks that are kind of the perfect addition to your Elite Four team. I want to call the free four. You bring this Pokemon to your Elite Four and it basically just comes in and it just makes the Elite Four super easy. That was Jome's role. Not quite a massive contributor, but you do get the free Elite Four. And that's it for the very first Nuzlocke. So then somehow immediately I transitioned from the first Fire Red Leaf Green Nuzlocke straight into Emerald Kaizo, where we have help. All of my starters in Emerald Kaizo until the winning attempt, they all just died. And it crazy that the one time I kept my starter Pokemon alive, I ended up winning the run. I would say it's not your fault. You know, there was so much unfamiliarity with the game, and it died to a stupid Meditite in Brawly's gym. So the run did not even make it past Gym 3, so we don't have very many to talk about. But one that I do have to talk about is Growlithe the Skitty. I'm going to put in larger than life, but I do feel that we need a new tier. I think this would be a good tier for a Pokemon like Growlithe the Skitty. Clearly, I wanted something else. Clearly, I did not want Skitty here. This is the type of Pokemon where I have no expectation for it, and then it eventually just does something that makes me be like, whoa. But because we still reference the Skitty strats to this day, when we talk about a Pokemon that nobody believed in, that somehow proved everybody wrong, that some Twitch chatter still owes me like $200, bet me $200 that I could not beat Roxanne on my first attempt. He didn't say my first attempt. He said like my first 50 attempts. And then we pulled out Growlithe the Skitty and we beat Roxanne on our first attempt with no deaths. Maddie Shrew, I think we need another tier. This is the literally who tier, because I genuinely do not remember this Pokemon. Michael the Love Disc, this is literally the one gym wonder Pokemon. It's technically two gyms. This could be like the mascot of the one gym wonder tier. Like, you use Love Disc for the first two gyms in Emerald Kaizo, you utilize the Charm Squad, and then you're gone. And on that same wavelength, I'm going to put Brawny here as well. We can keep 2/3 of the Charm Squad together. It's finally time to add the worse than useless. Getting these Pokemon actively hurt the run. Voltorb, getting Swinub. Like, if I'd gotten a better ground type, who knows? I might have just won on attempt 1, but Swinub was such a useless encounter that we ended up wiping in Watson's gym. All right, so that's EK attempt 1 down. And now we have the Relay Nuzlocke. It's going to be curious to rank some of these because, like, I didn't use a lot of these Pokemon. A lot of these Pokemon I was in call while they were being used, but I wasn't necessarily the one using them. This Tepig died very early, and it died in a way that I don't even really remember commenting about it. So I think that just goes into not your... Like, this was just a byproduct of someone rushing through the game as quickly as they could, and they just killed the starter. Oh, baby. And there he is. Corey. Is Corey the greatest Nuzlocke Pokemon in Captain Kid history? It's certainly run-defining, but I could even go beyond. I think I could go even further beyond with Corey. There's no Pokemon that, 1, had a bigger impact, and 2, had the long-lasting legacy that is required for, dare I say, GOAT status. When I think of Nuzlocks on the Captain Kid channel, this is a Pokemon that somehow defied all of the odds. It was the most clutch Pokemon you've ever seen. Everybody would click Rock Blast with Corey, Eviolite, Boldore, and it would always get the exact amount that it needed. Like, Corey is the only Pokemon that had an emotional RIP montage tacked on to the end of the video because we were so sad that it died. I literally had to end the run when Corey died. I didn't even want to continue playing. I think he's truly one of one. And I think for that, Corey deserves to be at the top of the tier list. Oh, I totally forgot to rank this Pokemon, but there was actually a tier above GOAT that was reserved for subscribers to the channel. Huh, I guess you could dethrone Corey and be at the top of the list by hitting the subscribe button. Best nickname. Something about P-Dove being named Pilot after Jan's Emerald Kaizo run saving Swellow, I think is just so funny to me. Schnappy. Okay, we need a new tier. This one obviously needs a new tier. Not even the best Nuzlocker in the world could save you. If you can't even survive when the best Nuzlocker in the world is piloting you, like, you had no chance at all. This tier list is going to be a mess by the end. Are all of Jan's Pokemon just going to go into best nickname? Hear me out. Hear me out. What if we add one more tier? What if we just add one more tier? I promise. I promise I can stop. I can stop at any point. I need one more tier. We have the wasted potential. I think wasted potential is like the gatekeeper between like a good Pokemon and a bad Pokemon, basically. Mommy overleveled 2 different players. Both Jan and I think Jacob overleveled Mommy. So it just never got used. I think these go into the best nickname tier. Peachal naming the Trubbish Alpharad, and then Alpharad picking up and then naming the Trubbish Peachal. Just, it was perfect. It was perfect. Jacob caught Aerith, and then that was like a huge benefit to have. So Aerith absolutely deserves 1 Gym Wonder. Big Woman? Oh, you know. I remember Big Woman. See, the problem is, I think with some of these older Nuzlocks is I don't quite remember how impactful some of these Mons ended up being. I do like Big Woman a lot. Escavalier, I do remember this Pokemon. I want to put it in worse than useless. All he had to do was sweep Caitlyn, literally clicks Bug Buzz, lead Reunacliff, lives on 1 pixel. Escavalier couldn't do its job, and so you get worse than useless. Sorry, buddy. And that is the Relay Nuzlocke. And then we never talk about what happened to Corey. Nobody ever talks about what happened after that. Now we move into the first ever draft lock. We start getting into the territory of I feel like I'm becoming a good Nuzlocker. In order for a Pokemon to get into this tier, I feel like I had to improve enough as a Nuzlocker to even know how to utilize a Pokemon to get into this tier, right? And I think this is the first Gyarados that really popped off. This Gyarados basically won me the entire... This was the first overall pick. I think this very first draft lock Gyarados was pretty career defining for me. Like, this was the point where people knew me as a sweat. I was a try-hard. I love doing Nuzlocks. I love Nuzlocke races. I love draft. I just love being like the analytical spreadsheet guy. I came prepared. I was ready to win this race, and I think ripping off Gyarados pick 1-1 was like this was it. This one set me off. This one set me off on my Nuzlocking career. This one set me off on like the sweaty try hard. I always want to be trying to play optimally path. Shedinja? I think I need to go 1 Gym Wonder on this one. Same thing for Graveler. I feel like the draft lock is going to be a lot of like 1 Gym Wonder Pokemon because you kind of are picking Pokemon that you know are going to do well into a certain gym, right? Swellow. Now this was a run defining pick. I was basically out of the competition. I had fallen very far behind because of this Steelix. The Steelix had broken my game to a point where it felt unrecoverable. I got to Norman's gym. Norman wasn't even there. So that was like a 15-minute delay or something. So I had basically resigned at that point. And then Guts, Facade, Swellow came online. Every trainer, I would just drive through. This Swellow basically got me back into the race. And it ended up coming to the E4. It ended up getting the killing blow on the Ludicolo with Aerial Ace. Honestly, Yanma goes into worst cooks. I don't know what I was doing. Why did I even bring this thing into Norman? It was just there to die. Enters dies. That's the Yanma tier. Lantern, this was in the E4. I remember this Lantern being really good. I remember this Lantern doing a lot. I would put this Lantern in massive contributor. This was mid EK grind at this point. I was so Lantern pilled. Like, look at how many Lanterns I was using. I just felt like I was using Lantern a lot. I was such a Lantern believer at this point. Sceptile, I think all 3 of these go into free form. I don't know how all of these Pokemon fell to me. Like, how they let me get away with drafting all of these Pokemon is still beyond me. Oh god. Oh, the Plush lock. Very underappreciated video for sure. I mean, Pignite did about all you would expect it to. It was just solid. Palpitoad? This is when the Palpigoat first started. I would say Palpitoad is massive contributor, possibly run defining. Like, when I think back on that video, the run defining tier is definitely like, when I think of this video, what Pokemon do I think of? And Palpitoad, I think is in that tier. You never forget these grippers, that's for sure. Munna, I think this goes in worse than useless tier. This Pokemon was so bad. If I'd rolled anything else on the wheel, I might have been able to win this challenge run, but Munna was just so bad. We're gonna add a couple of tiers here. Dream Luck, parentheses, good. And we'll also have Dream Luck, parentheses, bad. They didn't get like outrageously unlucky, but it was unlucky enough to where it was memorable, and they probably don't die if they get luckier. And I think the way that run kind of ended, like where I really messed up, honestly, Fracture goes into not your fault tier. Because the Fracture, I'd been playing so much EK that I was like so ROM hack pilled, and I could have set up a free Dragon Dance on a heel turn, and it just wasn't even, I wasn't even thinking about it. Now we're getting into some good stuff. Now we're getting into a point where I feel like I'm really establishing what I like to do as a Nuzlocker, and it's the weird, wacky Nuzlocks. And that's where we get Pokemon Sweet. Heistoise, the starter of the run, I really like. It kind of set us off on the right foot, but very similar to No Cap in the very first Nuzlocke. It was just like solid. Actually, looking at it now, no, I need to put some respect on Heistoise's name. I need to go massive contributor. Leganium, I think, is certainly disappointed initially, but proved me wrong tier. Famously, there was one Twitch chatter that was like, bro, Licoritas sucks. You just got the worst encounter. This basically worse than an ice type. And then Leganium ended up being like one of the core 3 Pokemon. The other of which being Cupcat, which had an unfortunate name. Torturang, it enters, dies. The only thing I remember about the Pokemon is eating it. So not good for it. So Keratorb is interesting. I feel like enters, dies implies that it was useless. Yeah, you know, I think that's funny. You used the limited amount of potential that you had. Rhysicle didn't do a ton. It tasted very good though. I did like eating this Pokemon. I would say like 1 Gym Wonder. It feels like Cottonmouth tier, honestly. This Pokemon did absolutely nothing, but it 100% belongs in the best nickname tier. I didn't even nickname it. That's just the Pokemon's name. Snorlax, awful Pokemon. Useless. Like, you could put so many Pokemon from Pokemon Sweet in the useless tier just because they had no idea how to balance a Pokemon game. Banana Buzz, I think same. Also a 1 Gym Wonder. Not like we kind of got the big contributors early, and then I never really got anything beyond that. Sour though, when I think of the original Pokemon Sweet Tooth, this is the Pokemon that I think of. This just put everything to sleep and made it so easy. Made the game so easy. We were playing the game on easy mode when we had Sour. This Pokemon was so broken. Part of me wants to put career, like I kind of want to put a career defining Pokemon. You know what? We'll put Tewberry in there. I feel like Pokemon Sweet was such a transformative video for me in terms of like realizing that those are the types of Nuzlocks that I have the most fun with. And then we have the Pokemon that carried the entire Elite Four. I think Crowberry has to go in the larger than life tier. This has been an emote on the channel ever since. It was an emote on the channel for the Elite Four. Like, I needed people to spam this awesome face. Two-berry, I'm doing this. Not because I never actually use the Pokemon. The video ends when Two-berry shows up on screen, but I think something about seeing this Pokemon and this sprite, it clicked in my brain. I was like, this is what I need to do. I need to find silly, wacky Pokemon ROM hacks, Pokemon games, whatever. I just want to do the silly, wacky Nuzlocks. This is the career path for me. Now we are getting into another banger, the Shiny Lock. I think immediately you just have to put the starter in run defining. I think there were 3 run defining Pokemon in the Shiny Lock. It was obviously the starter. I accidentally reset over the first one, which is like a big deal. You know, that is run defining. I got my run started late because I couldn't help myself, but accidentally reset over a shiny Pokemon. Then there was the long and painful grind for Dream, the shiny Ghastly. 3 times over odds we went. Truly, actually, you know what? Dream looked good. Because then the other run-defining Pokemon to me, it's definitely got to be Lady Luck. Maybe Massive Contributor. Actually, no, the more I think about it, I think I'd rather put Lady Luck in Massive Contributor. She was definitely a huge help. No, given how many I had to go through, yeah, no, Lady Luck is definitely run-defining. I think because I'm looking at it through the lens of like the Pokemon and their impact in the run, but also the impact that they had on the video that took all of these other Pokemon to get first. This is like when I thought of the tier of disappointed initially, but proved me wrong. The other pink Heracross is the one that I thought of. This is like the mascot of this tier. I was like definitely disappointed to get this Apom, but then Ampapom ended up being, I think in terms of impact, one of the highest impact Pokemon in the run, which kind of feels wrong for it to be way down here, but because I was so disappointed, this is like the perfect tier for it. Shatshrew, 1 Gym Wonder for sure. I don't think I ever used it beyond, it got us through Bugsy, and that is all I wanted it to do. So good job, Shatshrew. You will live under the shadow of Matt Shrew forever. Slim Shady. This is when we start seeing the Gyarados populate this territory. The Gyarados will start propping up here more and more as we get through all of the different videos that I've done. Then we have this idiot. Nah, this is worse than useless. I would have rather had no shiny than the shiny Onix. I finally wanted to redeem myself, finally fulfill my lifelong childhood dream of getting that shiny Makuhita that evaded me when I was a kid. The first ever shiny that I saw. I didn't have any Pokeballs. I thought, what better opportunity to redeem myself than get a shiny Makuhita and the shiny only Nuzlocke, and then this guy reared his ugly head around. Worse than useless. Get it out of here. All right, Emerald backwards. This was a really fun run. I liked this run a lot. My game plan was to have Pokemon that would kind of throughout the game, the team would dwindle slowly, you know? And I think I need a tier below useless. We need Flop City. Flop City. The Absol didn't even make it out of the Elite Four. This Absol was so bad that it died before I ever even got to use it. Absol definitely gets Flop City. It was worse than useless. Eknimalis, definitely the free 4 tier just gets to be the pseudo legendary tier, I guess. That's kind of the point of like of the pseudo legendaries, right? Like in your average Nuzlocke, you're not going to have these guys throughout the course of your entire playthrough for the most part. I never get to use Salamence, so I was like, let's use this opportunity here. Made the Elite Four very free for us. Definition of the free 4 tier. Nottingham, the Magneton, this definitely, I think, was a massive contributor. This did a lot for us. Obviously, you have to, when you only have 3 Pokemon for most of the game, you have to be putting in some work. And Nottingham was definitely putting in that work. And then we have the final 2 remaining Pokemon. Ultimately, I think Tentacruel did more throughout the entire run. I actually think it's worth putting both of them in run defining. That's how good they both were. I think that both of these Pokemon deserve to be in run defining. This Tentacruel was insane. This Tentacruel, it beat Flannery. It allowed us to beat Brawly. It had Ice Beam for Brawly. It had Surf for Norman. Like, it had so many good tools. It turns out that playing the game backwards makes Tentacruel even better. And then Trepmaws, we had, you know, obviously had to get to the very end. If Trepmaws ever died, the run was over. So I think for that alone, it has to be run defining. But this Tentacruel just deserves some love because it was so good. It did so much. All right, and now we get into Pokemon Puffy Pink version, the Soul Link with Failboat. Oh, I have looked back so fondly on this run. So many great, I think without a doubt, my favorite nicknames in the series. Like, I'm so tempted to put I'm so tempted to put Bobogram up in run defining. But when I think of this Nuzlocke, I do think of Bobogram. The hypest lab fight ever. It took us 3 attempts. I had to get a crit just to make it out of the lab. And it was the very last Pokemon standing. Bobogram fought till the bitter end, and I think that was so sweet. I did love this Pokemon. So then we got Cart, and then we got the shiny Cart, the cooler Cart. This is my job was replaced by AI. They just couldn't keep up. These guys just couldn't keep up. This is the tier for Pokemon that they were going to be used, and then an unfortunate incident occurred to where their job has been replaced. So sorry, Cart. The cooler Cart is here. Ooh. See, oh man, there's so many good Pokemon here. I think Duty goes massive contributor. Obviously, we have like the Waddle Dee. This is the Waddle Dee Waddle Doo pair. Failboat got their Beam Attack Waddle Doo Pokemon. Duty was just so good. We had the Big D, and then we had Grand D. Like, it could be run defining, but because it died, I think that honor has to go to Poopa Doopa. When I think this has my favorite nicknames, and every time I think back to this run, the first nickname that comes to my mind is Poopa Doopa. It was tearing through gyms. It was tearing through the Elite Four. Like, Poopa Doopa was a name to be feared, and I think that's why it has to be run defining. Oh, Mr. Junior's so good. I think I want to put Mr. Junior in larger than life, just because, like, when I think of my favorite nicknames, like, Poopa Doopa is the nickname that I always think of, but Mr. Junior is my favorite nickname of all time. It's just so stupid. It's so silly. It's perfect for the Soul Link. I just love it so much. Okay, Dama, definitely and not your fault. Oh, God. Not my proudest work. If we were to redo this Nuzlocke, Failboat and I would 1000% win. Because a lot of these were just my fault, just being stupid. This was just playing fast, playing on speed up, wasn't really thinking. If Failboat and I had been able to evolve this Pokemon, just stack it up. Like, it would have been the freest Elite Four of all time. I take so much blame for this Kirby Soul Link failing, and like this is where you really start to see that. For chat, I think we need a new tier, chat. Hold on, you guys are gonna love this one. Chat, we need the subscribe tier, and comment down below which Pokemon is your favorite. I would love to know. What tier is your favorite, actually? That's what I really want to know. Coo! It's a one gym wonder. Yeah, it swept Giovanni. It swept Giovanni. So we had 3 one gym wonders. All right, and that's the Kirby Soul Link down. Oh, and now we get into a fun one. The Dracomon. The bootleg Nuzlocke that was actually, it is without a doubt the worst game I've ever played in my entire life. And we're starting off strong. Hydrogon, worse than useless. This Pokemon is so bad. I set myself up so badly for the rest of the run. There's a lot of water types in this game. There's a lot of grass types in this game. There is only 1 fire type in all of Dracomon. And you want to guess where you can get that Pokemon? That's right. the same place you get Hydreigon. So I actively screwed myself by picking this thing. Petragon the goat. Yep, see, there it is. Petragon, somehow the fan favorite. He's got to be larger than life. Petragon. Oh my god. I just love seeing him up here. He is the one beacon of shining light in a world of dog shit. It was Petragon. He is the only one that deserves to be up here. All of the other ones, nobody else is crossing this line. I can tell you that much. Nobody else is crossing this line. Dripogon, though, is kind of heat. Dripogon at least gets to go into best nickname. We did give Drip... This is the only... You can't nickname the Dracomon, but he was colloquially known as Dripogon, and so he definitely gets to go into best nickname. And then last, but definitely least, okay, we need one, just one more tier, I promise. Just the worst. So the naming convention in Dracomon is that when a Dracomon evolves, it becomes Hydro Knight, Mizu Knight, Lizard Knight. It drops the Gon and it adds Knight. So what do you get when Metagon evolves? You guessed it, Metagon Knight. We absolutely ruined it. We had it right there. We could have had Meta Knight, but instead we got this stupid Metagon Knight, and therefore this will always be the worst. It makes me actively angry that we ruined such a perfectly awesome joke with this awful, awful Dracomon. I do have a special tier in mind for the favorites. A was certainly a one gym wonder. That was its entire job. This Pokemon's entire job was to sweep Roxanne, and you did it. Good job, buddy. Alakazam, career defining feels like way too high for this. I don't know. Is it career defining? I did kind of become the teleport guy. Now, this was the first time that I pulled out the teleport strats in one of the draft locks, and that's been like my go-to technique every single time. Yo, Palpitoad, I'm gonna say massive contributor. It's almost, I think Palpitoad is on the precipice of being run defining. Run defining would probably be like, oh, I did that the whole run. I guess technically that's kind of what Palpitoad did in this, but there was also a much lower power level. Boldor, this was a sad Boldor. This was a sad Boldor. This Boldor did unfortunately just enter and die. This could never be Corey. Every masterpiece has its cheap copy, and I think we found Corey's cheap copy. Crustle, this was actually, I think Crustle was in massive contributor tier. It swept Winona. I think Crustle was one of the these were like a couple of the standouts in that run. Dusclops was Flop City. Dusclops came in and died. Dusclops entered and died, but I feel like it was worse than, like, I expected it to do something. I think that's the difference. Like, none of these Pokemon I was really expecting to do anything. The Dusclops I kind of expected to do something. That's what the Flop City tier is. Butterfree, unfortunately, I think also falls into Flop City. In the draft lock, the level up learn set that this Butterfree had is the only one that does not get Quiver Dance before level 46. It gets it at level 47. So Butterfree was literally one level away from being able to completely sweep Juan's gym. Unfortunate circumstance, but it does fall into Flop City. The 6 Elite Four Mons. I wish my favorite Pokemon was Miraidon. That's this tier. I think I win the event if my favorite Pokemon is Miraidon. Unfortunately, my favorite Pokemon are these guys. Now we have what is there's got to be something from career defining on this, because this is my most viewed Nuzlocke on the entire channel. The final Ultra Sun Wonderlock, which is a very special video to me. It's a video I'm so proud of, and I really love, and I think it has such a fun story going for it. And starting off with the starter of the run, YT Greenie, did meet an unfortunate fate. It might have to even go into not your fault tier. had I prepared better for the Marowak totem fight, I think YT Greenie would have gone a lot farther. I do feel bad that you met such an unfortunate fate there. Inkay, another one. Not your fault. I don't even think it was my fault. I still don't know how this Pokemon died. I still don't know why the Pinsir went for X-Scissor into Hariyama. That was not its highest damaging move. Now we have the one. When I think of the Wonderlock, the first Pokemon that comes to mind is, of course, the Japanese Breedject Axew. This has to go into career defining, just because of how big that video is and how fondly I look back on that video. I don't think it would have been possible without this little Japanese Axew that swept totems. It swept Elite Four members. It swept the champion. This Axew truly did it all. And I think it definitely goes that level above run defining and truly became a career defining Pokemon. And then we have the French Pichu, a Pokemon that I put so much time into. The Pokemon that delayed the Wonderlock. The entire reason that I stopped streaming the Wonderlock and then didn't come back to it for 2 years was because I got this Pichu Wonder traded to me and I didn't want to do the friendship grinding on stream, and then finally after 2 years I come back, I evolve it, I immediately over level it so I can't use it in the first totem fight, and then it dies in the very next one. So wasted potential for sure. Magikarp. This is definitely Dream Luck bad tier. This, and I'm gonna skip ahead, Straiku. The awesome Scyther that we got, both of these go in Dream Luck bad. I still cannot believe how many times I got crit by those stupid totems. The double Solar Blade crit was, oh my god, it was infuriating. One of the unluckiest fights I've ever had, and unfortunately these two paid the price. Oh, but now we get to the two. Now we get to the two that define the video. Magnemite and this Chinese Makuhita. These were absolutely run defining. These two Pokemon, I've never had this before where it was like the duo. I mean, look at them. They're like stanced up. They're protecting each other's back right now. They're so ready to go fight for one another. Somehow they just always paired perfectly. It was just smooth. They really were the Shaq and Kobe of the Wonderlock. It was truly artwork, what they were doing out there. Amora, shocking. This was actually the best I've ever had an Aurorus perform. It goes in a massive contributor tier. I think Aurorus is normally really bad. It did a couple things early game, and then I brought it to the Elite Four, and it actually did some stuff. I'm still kind of speechless because I'm just gonna cheat. We got Aurorus in the trash log. This Aurorus was worse than useless. This Aurorus cost me the run. I think if I don't bring this Aurorus into the Elite Four, I might actually win. This is what I normally think of when I think of Aurorus, but somehow this one, it actually did really well. I was very proud of it. Oh, we have another good one. So I'm conflicted on Kaka de Vaca because there is the best nickname tier. It could go in disappointed initially, but prove me wrong. Actually, I think that's the perfect tier for it. We have so many Pokemon in One Gym Wonder, but there's something special about Kaka de Vaca. Not only was I disappointed in the fact that I got a Zubat, I was also just disappointed in the person who would name their Zubat Kaka de Vaca. So I felt like it proved me wrong on multiple levels, which I think is really impressive. And you know what? It was a great Pokemon. It completely walled the final totem fight. Klefki. This thing's worse than useless. Klefki's absolutely worse than useless. It was in the Komodo totem fight. Just absolutely worthless. Just did absolutely nothing. This goes into the Enters Boom tier. This Ekans, I only brought to one fight. It was the Mimikyu totem fight. I didn't even level it up. I just threw it in so I could get an Intimidate off. That is literally all it did. it did its job, and then it died. So Froakie, honestly, this goes Dreamluck. We had a lot of bad luck with the totem fights. If the Marowak had just done anything besides clicking detect, it would have been GG's. I would have hit him with the Waterium Z. They would have died to Hydro Vortex, and then I probably, like, the fight's just over, you know? It clicked protect, and things snowballed out of control very, very quickly, and it was not good. So, Keck W. Where do I even put this? I'm gonna go best nickname. This isn't even a Pokemon I used. This is the first time I got to use the Shiny Claws. I traded it away for a Surskit that I never used. So, but I wanted to show it off because I think it's cool. Piplup. Oh, Piplup. Piplup actually, okay, I need one that's like below solid, in between solid and one Gym Wonder. This is Clutch Gene. These are Pokemon that literally saved the run. If it hadn't been for Piplup hitting that burn on the Komodo with Scald, 30% chance, I think I wipe. If Empoleon had not clutched up, I think we lose the entire run. Snivy, worse than useless. Snivy, oh my god. The Contrary Superior, talk about a fall from grace. Oh my god, is this Pokemon Flop City. All it had to do was hit a couple of Leaf Storms. That's all you had to do for us, Snivy. We were gonna have a clean sweep over Olivia. But then Snivy couldn't hit a single Leaf Storm to save its life. Oh my god, this Snivy made me so mad. Torkoal. Not quite run defining, but absolutely a massive contributor. The Ultra Beast Torkoal, it was the Solgaleo Slayer. It was the Metagross Slayer. Just seeing that Beast Ball come in as the trade was being initiated, I knew this Torkoal had aura, so I was like, oh yeah, this is the Pokemon. It absolutely backed it up. It backed it up every step of the way. Okay, Eevee. Yeah, I think this also goes into Clutch Gene. This is on the same fight. This Empoleon got the burn, and then Eevee survived a Poison Jab from Komodo at -2, and then was able to get a Dazzling Gleam off to win the fight. So, absolutely Clutch Gene here. We have Nair Cream, the very obviously hacked in Moltres. I'm gonna put Nair Cream in worst cooks because somebody was cooking with this Moltres. It wasn't me. And then of course, how could we? I don't know where to put this. I think I have to put it up pretty high. Maybe even larger than life, actually. I think Doduo Doduo basically saved the universe by defeating Ultra Necrozma all by her lonesome. You have to be larger than life at that point. Like, it took down the notorious run killer Ultra Necrozma all by itself. I didn't even have anything else in my party. All right, and then we have an underappreciated video, Pokemon Nuzlocke with too many rules. So we had the wedlock rules. So we have pairs here and Rickles, Pickles, Pissler, and Ricklet, which you just got to watch the video to figure out how that all works. Rickles, I think, has to go into... I think it has to go massive contributor. It was like the thing that I needed to beat Morty. Insomnia, like which would put it like one Gym Wonder, but it is the starter, so it's like already in solid tier, and then it becomes an Elite Four Pokemon. So it's like at that point you're doing so much, you have to be massive contributor. Then we have the Pissler, who there's really only one. Any of the random shinies just go into Dreamluck good. This is a 1 in 8,192 shiny right here, which is crazy. I can't believe we got the Pissler. Dom, definitely, I think Dom and Sub go into massive contributor, honestly, which is kind of crazy. Well, here's the thing that kind of skews the results here. Like when the Pokemon are so condensed, I had to use so few Pokemon. Like these Pokemon kind of had to become massive contributors, right? You know, there were just less Pokemon to work with. It's kind of like how you see this. Like there's 3 of the 6 Pokemon in this one run all had to be up here, but there was only 6 Pokemon to work with, so that's just kind of how it goes. I kind of don't want to rank these. They all get to go in best nickname. How about that? How about that? Cuckold obviously did like nothing. Even Bull kind of didn't do a whole lot. So they're all just going to go into best nickname. Johnson and Virginia, these are the ones that define the run. The Too Many Rules Nuzlocke would not have been possible without this Pokemon. For anybody that did not watch that, there was a rule that you could not OHKO you could not OHKO anything, with the exception of multi-hit moves. So, Skill Link Cloyster became the most powerful Pokemon in the entire game. All right, and then we get to the absolute shitstorm that is Pokemon Sweet Tooth. A game that is held together by Band-Aids and duct tape. It's a rough go. It's a rough go. I think Pistoise, we do get Mega Pistoise, so I think I'll just chuck it into solid. I don't think it wasn't quite as good as the OG, but it was still solid, you know. Okay, Croconana, this is Dreamluck bad. Croconana just got so unlucky that it freaking died. Croconana got like self-hit and confusion 4 times and trapped in with Fire Spin, and there was just nothing it could do. So it was just very unlucky the way that thing died. Talonpeep. Talonpeep is run defining for sure. Talonpeep, the peepling that had the Slackoth cry that gave me such a good chuckle. And then I just got to use Fast Encore for the whole game. Stab slashes that weren't resisted by anything with a really good attack stat. Like, yeah, this thing was broken. Laminja, just like, it's just worse than use. Like, what were we thinking? There's a lot of stuff from Pokemon Sweet Tooth could go into Flop City, because just what were they thinking at all? The design, like, this thing has a really high HP stat, a really high speed stat, and then just like awful offensive stats. It was like, let's take everything people know about Greninja and not do that. Oh, Panfisk. Oh, Panfisk. What, I think the Panfisk had the funniest death I've ever seen. This is fate worse than death. This poor Panfisk. It tried to Mega Evolve. Its stats got like inverted or something. Fire Spin did 1 billion damage to it, so then I couldn't switch it out. It was doing no damage back. It never stood a chance. It was one of my favorite Pokemon, and then they took it away from me so fast. I was really disappointed. I was so sad about it. All right, Slow Bagel. Okay, it's definitely not your fault. Slow Bagel was an overworld poison death. So, oopsies. Sorry about that. Simizeal, you know what? Metagon finally gets a partner here. I kind of wanted Metagon to be in a tier of its own, but Simizeal is the worst Pokemon I've ever seen. It had Tackle, String Shot, and Bug Bite as a fully evolved Pokemon. It learned 3 moves. That is unacceptable. That is truly unacceptable. Simispritz, you're worse. You're almost just as bad. Creamgar, definitely very high up here. I think I would go massive contributor. Like, it definitely was huge in the Elite Four, but Creamgar did a little bit more. I think Creamgar gets like to be massive contributor. It didn't really come online until fairly late, so I can't put it like in run defining, but it's definitely massive contributor for sure. Deviking, I'm gonna say worse than useless. I did not want to have to eat devil cake, and this made me eat devil's cake. So I would have rather just not caught this Pokemon. I would have just rather had nothing. Cup VA. This has to go into best nickname, obviously. Why is it Cup VA? I don't know. But also I think I want to put it in worse than useless. This is another Pokemon that's just so bad. Freaking Lemeon, the god-awful evolution that was just Beautifly and just died. Because we've demoted Cup VA to worse than useless, that has opened up our best nickname slot, and oh, it has to go. It has to go to Cream Dawn. We got hot wife, cuckold, bull, into cream dawn. I don't like the implications of that. Moving on. Big C. I'm never disappointed to get Big C. You know what? I think Big C actually kind of saved the run. It hit some big spores. I think Big C's got the clutch gene. The Big C stands for clutch gene, obviously. Infernana, you're also going into Flop City. These two are the same Pokemon. What were they doing? What were they thinking? It's just the banana version of this. Choco Bun was crazy. Choco Bun was insane. This thing had no guard focus blast. So, but that's definitely free 4 territory. You get it right before the Elite Four, and then it just goes crazy. Candy, I'm just putting this in best nickname. Maybe Sweets weren't that bad after all. No, Sweet Tooth was terrible. It's probably the worst ROM hack I've ever played. It's really bad. Okay, now we're getting into another. I think this is truly my most underrated video. It's a damn shame that this video does not have more views. I love and I cherish this video. We had the Crawdaunt Corey coach lock, where I hired a Nuzlocke coach on Fiverr and then proceeded to play really badly, and my coach just watched me suffer. Okay, starting off with Alabama. I mean, where do I put Pokemon that I killed on purpose? I don't really know. I think we might need a new tier. Yeah, this one. These are Pokemon that they needed to serve a purpose, and that purpose was dying. Also, I realized I forgot to make a version of this for the Magikarp that I got killed due to overworld poison. That would go here as well. That was one of my favorite deaths, was losing the Magikarp to overworld poison. I poisoned it in battle and then just like ran around and got it killed. Arizona. Oh, Arizona was a good one. Oh, Arizona absolutely fits the clutch gene. Oh my God. I had basically gotten myself killed by Brawly, and this frickin' Zigzagoon managed to clutch up, hitting like 4 flinches in a row to win the gym battle. I would have wiped otherwise. So if it wasn't for this Lanoon, the run would have ended right there. And I honestly, I might not have been able to get a video. Utah. Okay, Utah is larger than life. This Hariyama, Crawdaunt Corey was a Hariyama hater. A big Breloom believer who did not believe in Hariyama. This Hariyama got Crawdaunt Corey to bump Hariyama up his tier list, which that to me is larger than life. That takes an impressive Pokemon to accomplish such a feat. Colorado, this was just, you got bad egged. This is just a Pokemon that got bad egged. I need another tier. I need more tiers. Bad egged. Yeah, Colorado, and then I'm gonna cheat ahead. We're bringing the Zubat in. These are the 2 Pokemon we lost to getting bad egged. May their souls forever rest and never get eaten, never get boiled. Okay, but then that made way for Colorado 2. This one definitely belongs in the Enters Boom. The only way that we were winning that Norman fight was with the self-sacrifice of Colorado. So if it wasn't for that Geodude, we definitely would have lost. Florida. This is a good Pokemon. This was, I would say, massive contributor. This was one of the biggest contributors. Mississippi, this is definitely massive contributor as well. Like I intentionally tried to make this Spinda a massive contributor, so that's why it's so high up. Oh baby, I think I have to do this. We're taking him to the top, not the tippy top, but I think that the Fiverr Nuzlocke video, truly one of my favorite on the channel. I think that Crawdaunt Corey, I mean, it's just become so much more than about Louisiana the Crawdaunt. And so like we have to somehow honor Crawdaunt Corey and his legacy. I think we do that by putting Louisiana the Crawdaunt in the career defining tier. New Mexico. I'm gonna say wasted potential, you know? It's rare to see a Sandslash or Sandshrew that did not follow in the footsteps of the Shrew lineage. Okay, talking about wasted potential. This is the wasted potential Pokemon. Feeding this intentionally the wrong Pokeblocks so that it could not become perfect. That's wasted potential if I've ever seen it. Okay, Pennsylvania. This thing is a fighter. This thing is absolutely clutch gene right here. Oh my god, this thing has the clutch gene. It was like stalling out. It was just barely hanging on against the Kingdra. It was going blow for blow. It was somehow surviving against it all with like ingrain and tanking everything. It lasted for so long. It was so fun to watch. And now we have, oh, this is easy. This is easy. We got the legendary draft lock. Kyogre, the goat still got it. The goat still got it. We gotta put it into run defining. Like, it just carried that entire legendary draft lock. Turns out Drizzle water spout or Drizzle whatever, you know, just Drizzle whatever water move you want to use on Kyogre absolutely breezes through Vanilla Emerald. Deoxys, literally all it did was teleport, so I don't really know. Maybe you know what, I think we need a teleport here. Teleport. We're putting Deoxys there. Kyurem, oh, this was massive. I would say run defining even. I was so concerned about getting Iron Bundle for Freeze Dry, and then Kyurem was just right there. Kyurem just complimented Kyogre so perfectly. Urshifu! This is the free four. This is the free four Pokemon. I knew by drafting Urshifu single strikes that I was gonna win the Elite Four. Ooh, the auction lock. Very stinky run for me, honestly. Yeah, you already know Abra's going into teleport tier. Yeah, no, this is I just don't want to put a Pokemon from the auction lock into run defining. Even though this was like, because I placed so poorly, I don't think that the I don't deserve a Pokemon in run defining. Lycanroc was flop city, man. Lycanroc, I tried to set up a stupid sweep on Norman, and then I just died to confusion. It was such a gamble, and then it ended up costing me like 10 minutes. So that was just my own fault for not drafting a fighting type, but also like Lycanroc just couldn't do anything. Another Boldore. This one was really bad. I hate doing it to Boldore. No, wait. No, this did do something. It did take one on Winona. Okay, Tandemaus was worse than useless. Drafting this thing was actually self-sabotage. I don't know how to, I didn't know how to evolve it in the context of the draft. Also, even if I got Mouse Hold, like, what am I doing? Clicking Population Bomb, the move that is going to take 1 billion years to execute. Just drafting malpractice all around, honestly. It was just, what an awful idea that was by me. I'm gonna put Urshifu in the free 4 tier. I just like having both of them next to each other. The problem is I was already so far out of it by the time I even got to use these. So, like, in the vacuum of the run itself, this was a free 4 Pokemon, but in the context of like the actual race and everything, it was they're ultimately useless Pokemon to me, because like the goal of this was not to win the Nuzlocke. The goal of this was to win the race, and therefore like they were kind of useless in that. Super Mario Mon. All right, I love Super Mario Mon. Obviously, this is a very interesting section for me specifically, as someone who has done rigorous Nuzlocke tier list testing. King Babam, man, this is the Cap Kid all me. Like I think King Babam is run defining. I think King Babam is absolutely run defining. Set up some bulk up sweeps with this guy. Like, it's the starter. You can't go wrong with King Babam. Muncher, on the other hand, this is the people's champ. Muncher absolutely, I think, is the perfect candidate for larger than life. We got Muncher fan art out of that playthrough, courtesy of Choopy. I don't think I've ever gotten fan art for any other Pokemon in any other Nuzlocke game I've ever done. So Blue Yoshi was honestly just like solid. Actually, you know what? I think Blue Yoshi needs to go clutch gene. Blue Yoshi had some clutch moments in the Nuzlocke. I think like in the Elite Four, I can't remember exactly what they were. But I remember Blue Yoshi being super clutch, so I would definitely go clutch gene for Blue Yoshi. Blarg might be career defining. I think Blarg has to be career defining in like a weird way because of just game balance, you know? I think this does such a good job of showing that Blarg is probably one of the best Nuzlocke encounters I've truly ever had. And it also goes to show that I didn't fully understand balancing a Pokemon game. It had to be nerfed day one. It had to be nerfed because of my playthrough. So that's how you know this was a career defining capture right here. Because of the way that like I developed this just like core group of Pokemon, and that was such a focus of the like all these guys. I kept calling it the core 6, but it was kind of the core 5. Which in that case, I think Bonsai Bill just falls into massive contributor. And then the last two to round out the core 6, I think we just got to chuck these into run defining, especially Porcupuffer. Porcupuffer, I think, might be the best of all of these, actually. I think Fuzzy is like more of the massive contributor. I don't think Fuzzy's quite on the same level as these guys. But man, Porcupuffer was amazing. They had to nerf Porcupuffer because of me. I got Blarg and Porcupuffer nerfed. Mechachomp, it wasn't your fault. I take full responsibility for your death, Mechachomp. I'm so sorry. The first death of the run, we made it so far. We made it all the way to the 7th gym before Mechachomp met its unfortunate fate. And it was entirely my fault. It was just a brain off moment. I hit into innards out and it cost Mechachomp dearly. And now we have the Trash Lock, which I feel like it's just setting a lot of these Pokemon up for failure. It feels like a lot of them were just kind of destined to be in the useless tier, but that doesn't mean that all of them have to be in the useless tier. Braixen, very much a one gym wonder. We used this to beat Brawly and then chucked it into the box, never to see the light of day again. Hippopotas? Oh man, Hippopotas. I'm gonna put, this is wasted potential for sure. If I hadn't gotten this killed, I think I would have won the run. Actually, I know for a fact I would have won. Because Hippopotas is the exact Pokemon that I needed. If I had Hippowdon with Ice Fang, I would have been able to deal with Drake. And then that would have been the difference. If I just had a Drake answer, the problem was I didn't have a Drake answer. Would have been a lot better to have that than Cast Form. So speaking of, Cast Form was 1000% worse than useless. Not having 2 of your Elite 4 Pokemon be in the worse than useless tier, not a great sign. I was definitely, the pressure, CJ was already in the Elite 4, so like there was pressure on me to just go in. I just didn't have enough time to think clearly. Boldor, is this the Boldor? I think this is the Boldor that clutched up. There's so many Boldors now. They're all getting kind of like mixed up in my head. Yeah, no, I think this was the good Boldor. Probopass was actually shockingly decent. I would say like massive contributor. Definitely a massive contributor to the Trash Lock. Without Probopass, I don't think I was getting anywhere. Wormadam goes beyond just a one gym wonder. It was definitely solid. I mean, it swept Juan, and then it actually did some work in the Elite 4. Quiver Dance is just that broken of a move. If I had literally either of the other Wormadams, I think I win, but obviously Jacob knew to give me the worst one. And then last and kind of least, we have Lunala. I'm going to put it in Flop City. Lunala, like, obviously it helped a lot. Obviously, it was really good into the Elite 4 members that it could just completely bowl over. But then it got to a point where once I just got outsped and killed by Crunch, like, it's just GG's at that point. Now we have super fun project, the Too Many Types Soul Link with Wacko. Westbrook, the starter Delphox, absolutely run defining, no doubt about it. What a good Pokemon, holy moly. Delphox in Too Many Types just steamrolls over seemingly everything. Just crazy in the Elite 4, like absolutely insane Pokemon. Too many good things to say about this Pokemon. I can't put Draymond in the GOAT tier. I cannot put Draymond in the GOAT tier. Just know that Draymond did make the GOAT box. I would definitely say disappointed initially, but prove me wrong. That is the definition. I never thought that I would have anything in the Whisper line that I would be singing its praises, but here we are. Ledecky's weird because for Wacko, it was really good, but for me, it was really bad. So I think I have to rate my own, and I think I just got to go, honestly, like useless. It was really good. It was Wacko's huge power Azumarill, which was like killing everything. And for me, it was this awful Cricketune. Simone! Oh, you know, we got to put the crab up top, baby. Oh, yeah. Too many types is defined by its crabs. And Simone, for both myself and Wacko, we got the crab and the Gyarados. Like, that is run defining. Linsanity, though. Linsanity definitely just, like, solid. I would say Clutch Gene, actually. Yeah. The, like, saved, I think, in the Norman fight. Oh yeah, Linsanity definitely had the Clutch Gene in the Norman fight for sure. Yeah, this is the right tier for this. This one just feels mean. Flop City. The name was bad. The Pokemon didn't work. It was a disaster. The original clay fight was just an absolute flop all around. My plan just did not work. It was a disaster. I would call Bill Russell's definitely free 4. Our legendary mythical duo was very much needed for the Soul Link. Unfortunately, Wacko lost his Mew, but the Latios was just unstoppable. Josh Giddey has the Clutch Gene, actually. That Perish Song on the champion, definitely. Oh, and it took out, oh yeah. Being able to be a switch-in on the Silvally that does way too much damage. Yeah. Josh Giddey got that Clutch Gene. Oh, I am excited for this one. Pokemon Evolved Testudinis. This is a Mon. I know exactly. This is my job was replaced by AI. It's just the unfortunate thing of being the water type starter in the Kanto region. Like you get so many good water types. I think when you give Gyarados 3 evolutions, good things are gonna happen. We just keep climbing. Cyprinus definitely goes, I think, into massive contributor. I don't think it quite hits run defining tier because I feel like there's only one special Pokemon. Who else? Psilocybin. Big P, the greatest spore delay you've ever seen. Truly defined the run. With every evolution montage, we had to come back in to check on Big P, who was always, he'll get it at 100. He'll get 101, level 101. He's getting that spore. We had the big, massive pivot in the Elite Four that people are still talking about. People are still talking about the Big P pivot to this day. Albastriga, I would say massive contributor as well. Okay, now all memes aside, I do think we should do that. I don't think, like, I think we need to put some respect on Gyarados' name. Put some respect on the greatest Nuzlocke Pokemon of all time, right? Daisy Podia. Another Shrew. Unfortunately, she was taken from us too early, but she was absolutely a massive contributor. She made her mark known. Like the queens were out. The queens were doing the dirty work. Taraxacum, I kind of want to put it in Enters Dies. It kind of did just die. It just needed it in a sleep powder. If it had just hit one of those sleep powders, it might still be with us, but couldn't do it. Did not have the Clutch Gene. It had the anti-Clutch Gene. Cannabis, oh, you already know. It's got to go into the best nickname tier. I mean, look at that. Bro is blowing some fat clouds right there. Like, it has to be. Oh my god, this Pokemon's so... This is a flop city right here. How do you make the Jolteon evolution so bad? It was basically just like a slightly bulkier, worse Jolteon. I hated that Pokemon. It was really bad. Definitely a major flop. Mucus? I think Mucus... Oh, yeah. If these guys are major contributors, Mucus has to be. Made the Elite Four team. Was really good into Sabrina. These are... Okay, we can rank Draco, the odd man out. Useless Pokemon. Actually, wait. It's the perfect Enters Dies. It came into one fight, got ice punched, and then that was it. GG's. Never saw it again. Never show your face around here again. Okay, Pokemon is definitely in the free 4 tier. I like how the free 4 tier has just evolved into, oh, what legendary did I get this time to help me beat the game? And then I think both of these, I think both Mantodea and Hippocamp, they're close to run defining, but they're absolutely massive contributors. I think because they came in so late, they can only go as high as massive contributor. Now, Hippocamp saved the run. Hippocamp has to be run defining. It's kind of weird to see. This is the first batch that got 3 run defining mons. Look, what can I say? It's Big P. Big P deserves to go up top. I think playing a ROM hack that's all about evolving Pokemon and intentionally choosing to keep an unevolved Pokemon and not just keep it, but also to bring it to the Elite Four, I think that's career defining. I think that shows some balls. You got to have some gall to be bringing Paris to the Pokemon Evolved Elite Four. And lastly, the Pokemon Emerald Mini Nuzlocke. So Trico to me is an interesting one because it was definitely a 1-gym wonder for Roxanne. And then it took a lot of time off. And then when the 8th gym rolled around, here comes Trico. He's back. Yeah, I think Trico elevated itself for sure. Like, it made those gyms easy. Like, those gyms could have been genuinely really difficult. And also, I just think it's very funny to have the massive contributor Trico versus the virgin free 4 Sceptile. All right, Wingull. Oh, Wingull 1000% is Clutch Gene. Living on just a sliver of HP and firing back and slaying the dragon that is Altaria. Oh my god. Without Wingull, who knows what happened? I might wipe there. I might have wiped to Winona if it wasn't for Wingull. Poochyena, disappointed initially, but proved me wrong. Even within the same gym gauntlet, I was talking about how much I wanted the Poochyena to die. And then we got to Tate and Liza, and it got the last kill. And I was like, let's go, Poochyena! That's my goat! That's why you're the goat! A real rags to riches story there for Poochyena. Shroomish has to be massive contributor. Has to be massive contributor. It made the E4. It made the whole thing possible. I did doubt it, but then Shroomish was able to set us up. That I think that, you know, if I brought anything else, I might not have gotten that same outcome. So Abra was kind of just a 1-gym wonder. It did do a little bit extra, so I think I'm gonna elevate it to solid status. The hidden power fires came in clutch a couple times. Despite being the worst Abra you've ever seen, it actually had a couple of good moments. Electrike. Oh, Electrike also has the clutch gene. The Winona fight was such a... There was a massive opportunity that we end up just completely wiping there. And Wingull and Electrike came through. Electrike almost sold. Wingull came in, saved the job, and then Electrike came back in to finish the job. So I'm gonna consider it clutch. Consider it clutch. Geodude. Oh, Geodude is actually what I thought of when I thought of the Dream Look Bad tier. Just a Pokemon that got so unlucky. It got the 2 1 in 16 rolls that were non-crit 1 in 16 rolls to die to overheat, and we needed that Geodude so desperately. Okay, Baltoy, another instance of enters boom. Oh, it's so cute. He gets to be right next to Playdoll. This Baltoy boom, on the other hand, this was boom sad face. This was boom happy face. Oh baby. Oh baby. Anorith, my beloved, you were absolutely run defining. Oh yeah. Who would have thought? This is maybe the greatest unevolved Pokemon of all time, Anorith. I don't think the run would have been possible without it. Huge on Norman. Huge on Tate and Liza. Good into all the evil teams. Good into the Elite Four. Like, oh, Anorith just every step of the way always came in clutch for us. Zigzagoon. Now, if you want to talk about a Pokemon that would not have been possible, I know that like Anorith is the one that made the whole run happen. I think I could even put Zigzagoon in career defining. I feel like using Zigzagoon instead of Lanoon to sweep Elite Fours, that's kind of become my MO. And then last, but definitely not least, we have Clamperl. There's only one spot open for it, and it's right next to Anorith. For a perfect 2 tiers of run-defining Pokemon, the Clamperl was so good. The Clamperl was so good. Clamperl could go into so many of these, like Clutch Gene, Free 4, Larger Than Life. Like Clamperl could go into a lot of categories. And that's every single Pokemon I've ever used in a Nuzlocke ranked. Here is the full list if you want to pause and look over the full thing. This was a beast to put together, so if you've made it this far, do me a favor by subscribing to the channel and letting me know what your favorite Pokemon I've ever used was.